Hello! I'm going to give you a little Lightroom for Dummies tutorial here, or Lightroom for bloggers. I don't profess to know much at all about Lightroom. I happened to watch a video that was the right video for me to watch because he showed the basic steps for what I needed to be able to do with Lightroom. I didn't need all the fancy stuff. I just needed a few things in order to save myself some time. If you're someone who produces a series of images that are similar and you sit there and you edit each one to put in a blog post, well, Lightroom will allow you to edit one and then duplicate those edits with pretty much a single click to the rest of the images. So that's what I'm going to show you. It's pretty simple. There's going to be a lot of I have no idea what I'm doing and a lot of oops and probably a lot of dog barking because they bark at anything within about a 2-mile radius. So anyway, let's give it a shot. Hopefully I don't leave anything out, and I don't talk too fast because I tend to talk too fast. And, well, let's just go and see what happens. Okay, so when you open up Lightroom for the first time, this is the screen you should get. It should have your name, not my name. If it has my name, that's just weird. But hey, anyway, you're going to have this left column, this blank center part, and this right column. And then there's these, I call them tabs up here. The only two tabs I ever use are Library and Develop. These clearly aren't important because I don't use them, which I'm being sarcastic. I don't need them. You may find that, ooh, what does that do? And tinker with it. I don't even bother. So you're going to use Library and Develop with what I'm going to show you how to do. The first thing you want to do is get your photos into Lightroom. Now Lightroom is very fancy. It has catalogs and collections and allows you to really organize your images within Lightroom. Lightroom does not edit your original images. So when we import into Lightroom, it's going to save those original images in that folder. Anything that you do is going to be saved within Lightroom, within these catalogs, and then you can further organize your images into collections. I'm not even going to get into that and show you how to do it because I don't use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to import, and you're going to find on your computer the images you want to work with. I have, these were kind of already edited, but I'm going to pull them in anyway and tinker with them to show you. So they're all sort of selected already. You know, you can select them again, but this checkbox allows you to select all, unselect all. If you don't want them all, then this is where the manual select comes in. Hold down Shift, hold down Control to just get selected ones, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to bring them all in, and I'm going to hit Import. And you can change the size of your thumbnails here. Now I have a really high-res screen, so they're not going to get very big. And then we hit Import, and voila, they are in Lightroom. Now, the first thing that I do, there's not a whole lot of images. I probably would use most of these in my posts, but let's say I had 50 images and I really needed to narrow it down. You can select your image, you can double click on it, and it makes it bigger. Now, this is a pretty clean image, so I like it. And so what you can do from here is you can actually rate the image in order to help you sort of narrow them down. So as you're going through 50 images, you don't have to remember which ones you liked or delete them as you go. You can rank them as you go. So this one I like, I'd use it, that's a 5. So I can hit the number 5 on the keyboard, or I can use this little star thing and press the stars. And I can move use the arrow keys to move to the next image. That one's okay, maybe I'd give that a 3. Then I move to the next one, a 4. The next one, a 4. The next one, I think with a white background, that could be kind of nice. I'm gonna, when I lighten that up, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4. We're just gonna, I'm giving them some random numbers here, and 2 just for the heck of it. Okay. So now, if you look at each image, the stars show up below there. Okay, now let's pretend that there were 50 images in there. I can go over to this filter thing over here and click Rated, and now I can filter out the images that I've rated. So let's say I only want to see the 5-star images. There's my 5-star images, 4-star images, 3-star. And this is like, you can change this too. So it's greater than or equal to, rating is equal to. So now you will only see that I didn't rate any 1-star. Okay, so there's a lot of finicky things you can do to make it easier to select the photos you want to work with. Now I'm just going to turn the filter off and look at all the images again. Okay, now we still all did this in the Library tab. The magic happens in the Develop tab. So we're going to click over to Develop. Okay, now you still have the sort of the 3 columns. You have this left column, the middle one with your image, and then this right column. I'm going to start with the right column. The right column is where you do all your editing. If you've used Photoshop or PicMonkey, these are the same editing tools that you will see there. They're a little more complicated in a way, but it's nice because they're all right here, and you have such sort of delicate, precise control. And you can sit here and tinker with it until you get it just right for your image. Just slide them back and forth. Really, it is so much more control than you have with any other editing software. It really can help if you have photos in poor light. I mean, it's not a miracle worker unless you really know how to use it, because I struggle sometimes, especially with grainy photos. But it can go a long way. Now this tonal curve does some things. You can play with that, lights, darks. If you do anything that you don't like, you can hit Control-Z to undo, or you can go over here on this left and scroll down to your history, and that's a history of all the things that you did, and you can undo it there. But I like Control-Z, and it seems like you could do Control-Z unlimited. So you can sit here and you can do all your precise edits, and really that's all you need with Lightroom. You don't need it to do anything else. If you want to crop the photo, there's a little rectangle here, and you want to constrain to image if you want to keep the proportions, and then you can crop it so it's just how you want. You can sort of drag it into that window, and then you hit close. If you want, you can reset it. Now if you close it and decide, oh, I didn't like that, you go back, see, it shows you the original image, because it doesn't affect your original image. It just saves these sort of little steps within Lightroom. Okay, so let's say what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this up a little bit, and this probably wasn't the right image to start with because these ones with the orange would have been better. So I'm going to click over, and we'll talk about this left column, and I'll edit one of these images that are a little more orange, like this one. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Now the left column, you don't really need to use it at all, but you can. It's going to come with very few presets. I have a lot in here. I bought them from Creative Market. There are free ones online. I use Creative Market. They're not super expensive, maybe $10 to $20 for a set, but I liked some of the food ones that they had. You don't need these, but what I like is to be able to click in and just maybe click on one of these presets, which is a series of things that someone has already set up. And sometimes it gets me almost to where I want with the editing with a single click, and then I go in and fine-tune it from there. I usually use the basic Lightroom presets. Where did they go? The Lightroom, no, not that one. General presets. I usually just, I do an auto tone on it, which did not work well here, probably because I had done that other one. But then there are some auto white balance ones in some of these that are really nice. But if you look, they can add some creativity and some artisticness to the photo that you might not think to do, and you can quickly see the preview of it here. I know it's small. I don't know how to enlarge that. I tried and bad things happened. So again, you don't need to use these, but you can. And again, a Control Z undoes the last thing that you did. I'm trying to look for one of them had an auto white balance that I really liked. Auto white balance. It just really makes the whites whiter. Okay, so now we tinkered with this a little bit, but I'm going to make it obnoxious so that when I apply these settings to the other photos, you can really see them taking shape. Okay, maybe kind of white it out here if we do that. And okay, we're just going to make this a little obnoxious so you can see that a lot more editing. They're a lot brighter than that original. Let's go up just a little bit more with the exposure. Okay. So now, and that's not, no, I wouldn't publish it like that, but this is just so you can see now how you take what you did to this photo and apply it to the other photos in the series. Now, this photo down here, you probably would want to edit separately from the ones with the orange and the blue, as well as this one, and you're going to see why. Okay, so the next step is we're going to click on Library, and we're going to go back to the Library tab. In order to see all your pictures in here again, you hit this grid thing. That's the technical term. And the image that I had edited is highlighted. So now what I'm going to do is hold down Control, and I'm going to highlight all the rest of them that I want. I'm going to show you, I'm going to highlight all of them just so you can see. And now I go over here to Sync Settings. If that is not visible for some reason, it means you hit this goofy little, dare I say, stupid arrow that hides it. I hate it because then I'm like, where did it go? And the one time I could not find the Sync Settings, and it just, I think I spent 20 minutes trying to find it, and it was that goofy little arrow. So just try not to hit that little arrow. Go down here to Sync Settings. I don't change any of this. I've never changed it. I just leave it, and I hit Synchronize. And then on the screen, if I did it right, you should see them all begin to change. They're all going to start to match that original photo. And I don't know, my laptop is busy doing a backup or something, so it may take a minute for some of them to catch up. But they will all change, unless it proves me wrong. Yep, there we go. See, it's still loading because my computer is busy thinking. There we go. And they all change. The click of a button, boom, done. Now, okay, this one, say, okay, that is way too, it's whited out too much. We're going to go back to the Develop tab. And you can scroll down to the history, and you can unsynchronize those settings by just going to the previous thing. And you can edit this one individually. Or you could leave it and then go back in and try and undo some of that exposure and that, because it's not terrible, it just does need some exposure and some contrast. We'll go back to the library. Okay, and so you can do that, you know, individually. This one maybe got too much, that one's too much, but they're all kind of too much. And this one, like this one, I liked what we had done before, so this one I would definitely undo. Boom, it's got some shadows in it. Okay, so let's say we did it, we synchronized it, we fixed which ones we wanted to fix. Now how do we get them out of Lightroom? That's just as easy it was to get into Lightroom. You hit Export. Now you can select them all, the first one, and then hold down Shift. You can do that across the bottom in the ribbon here. You can do it the same way, or you can use Control and just hit certain ones if you aren't exporting them all, however you want to do that. Let's just say I'm going to export them all. I hit the Export button, And now I've got some options. Export to specific folder. You can choose which folder you want to put it in. You can make a subfolder, yada yada. File naming, I don't do anything with that. I don't know what that is. Image size, you can give a specific image size. I haven't used this. I do that part in Photoshop because I have a Photoshop action set up where it resizes it and adds there's a filter on Photoshop that I like at the end of all my photos. So I have a little action, I bring them into Photoshop and hit that, and that's, you know, a second step for me. But you could tinker with this. I'm not sure how the height and the width, maybe if you set the biggest one, so if your height is 1200 and you set that, and then the width would just be what it is. I'm not sure how that works, so you'd have to experiment with that. Otherwise, you can just quickly resize it in Photoshop, because if you're taking them at the same resolution I am in your camera, you don't want to bring them in full size on your blog. It's redundant and just eats up space. And then the only other thing that I do, so I don't do that. The only other thing that I change aside from the file location is the watermark. Uncheck watermark, you don't get a watermark. If you check it, you can put a watermark. And in the beginning, I don't think there'll be any in there, and you can create your own watermarks. And the watermarks are really nice because once you set it up, then you've got it in there and you can just apply it. I have one for the upper right of the photo, lower right, upper left, lower left. So I have 4. Now you saw a bunch more in there, and that's because it's not intuitive. You can't overwrite the watermark that I could find. It makes you create a new one when you edit it. So in order to finally get the watermark where I wanted it, like this one, I would go upper left final. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so you would choose the image, or you could do text if you want to do text. Choose the image, and then your options for that image are down here. The opacity, the size, the inset from the anchor point. So I picked that anchor point and then the inset of 2, so it's off the edge by 2 units of whatever. Rotate it, and that's it. And then you hit done. When you go to save it, brand new, I don't remember how that works, but I'm sure it's pretty simple. You can figure that out. And then you hit export, and it will export all the images that you had selected to the folder that you selected, and boom, they're all done and edited. And I think I covered everything. Those are the features that I use. Like right here, I don't know what this is. This has something to do with when the image was taken, and the shutter speed and the ISO, and which is interesting, but I don't use it. If you have any questions, let me know. I think the big thing is just getting in and doing it and trying it, not really being afraid of it, and realizing that you do have all these options, but you don't need them. And all these people saying it's powerful and magical, they're right. They're right. It's just kind of, scary to look at. So again, let me know if you have any questions, and I think that's all I got. Thanks.